Today's video will require both your eyes and your ears, especially your eyes, because today we're going to play Can You Spot the Difference? Let's start with these two pictures. Can you tell there's a difference? If we were to say only one of them is a sacrificial altar, which one would it be? How about these two? If we were to say only one of them is a Catholic Mass, which one would it be? And these two? If we were to say only one of them was truly Vicar of Christ, whom would you pick? We are doing this comparison video today because 105 years ago, on June 13, 1917, Our Lady of Fatima revealed to the three shepherd children their fate. And while we know how Jacinta and Francisco met their end, that of Sister Lucy is shrouded in mystery. Her last confirmed interview was in 1957, and after a 10-year gap, she re-emerged at the side of Paul VI, appearing to endorse his mission from hell, also known as Vatican II. So let's retrace our steps. Before appearing to the three children at Fatima, the Queen of Heaven first sent Saint Michael, the Angel of Peace, a whole year ahead of her. He appeared to them 3 times, admonishing them to pray much and offer sacrifices, teaching them a prayer of reparation, adoring the Blessed Sacrament with them, and giving them communion. In our video of May 13th titled Pope Pius XII and the Message of Fatima, which we've linked to in the description, we'd mentioned Saint Michael's 3 visits and also Pope Benedict XV's World Crusade of Prayer. For those who missed it, here's a quick catch-up taken from the story of Fatima by the Right Reverend Monsignor Joseph Cacella. It is 1916 and the world is in the throes of World War I. It was a war of devastation, destruction, and death. The sins of a modern world had become too great and had provoked divine justice. But Mary, our mother, moved with pity, interceded with her divine Son. She deigned to visit this war-stricken world to admonish and warn it that it must return to God. The Right Reverend narrates St. Michael's visits and then says, "The events just related occurred during the second year of World War I. As the world struggled through a third year of devastation, destruction, and death, His Holiness Pope Benedict XV issued an earnest appeal for a world crusade of prayer to our Blessed Mother. The appeal was issued on May 5, 1917. Heaven heard and answered this appeal in a truly wonderful manner, just 8 days after it was issued. That was May 13th, the first apparition. But it is the second and not the first one that we concern ourselves with today. In this apparition on June 13th, the fate of the seers was revealed to them. The Right Reverend Cacella writes, "The beautiful lady again appeared to the children as she had promised. She asked them to return on July 13th and again insisted on the recitation of the Rosary every day. She revealed that she would soon take Francis and Jacinta, but that Lucy would have to remain longer on earth and God would use her to establish the devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary throughout the world." To pick up that dialogue, we must turn to another book. This one is titled Fatima, Mary's Peace Plan from Heaven. The villagers pressed around the children, but they could see nothing except the top of the oak bend ever so slightly as though someone was standing on it. They also heard nothing except Lucia's voice, apparently in conversation with an invisible visitor. "What does your excellency want of me?" Lucia asked. "I want you," the lady answered, "to come here on the 13th day of the coming month, to recite a third of the Rosary every day, and to learn to read. I will tell you later what I want." Then Lucia, showing her childish simplicity, said, "I should like to ask you to take us to heaven." The lady's answer brought tears to Lucia's eyes. "I will come soon and take Jacinta and Francisco, but you must remain here for some time more. Jesus wishes to make use of you to have me acknowledged and loved. He wishes to establish in the world the devotion to my Immaculate Heart. To all those who embrace it, I promise salvation, and their souls will be loved by God as flowers placed by me before His throne." "Am I to stay here alone?" Lucia cried. "No, my daughter, don't be discouraged. I will never forsake you." As she said these words, the lady opened her hands. They had been clasped on her breast, and bright rays seemed to come from the palms and envelop the children. In front of her right palm was a heart pierced with thorns. After several minutes, the lady disappeared in the direction of the sun. Years later, Lucia wrote in her memoirs, "We understood that it, the heart, was the Immaculate Heart of Mary, outraged by the sins of humanity, for which there must be reparation." The book goes on to say, "Thus the children and through them the world learned that in some way the sinner strikes at the most pure heart of Mary as well as the Sacred Heart of Christ. Generous souls are needed to draw the thorns out of these two hearts. These thorns are extracted by prayer and sacrifice. So, what happened to Sister Lucy? Like I said, it's a mystery. And just the way it was with the church after Vatican II, once the counterfeit surfaced, everyone, almost everyone, forgot about the real one. But just the way faithful Catholics sought out the true church and found it, eclipsed by this monstrous fake, so too faithful Catholics seek the answers to the mystery of the real Lucy eclipsed by the fake one. Sister Lucy Truth is an organization run by one such faithful Catholic, Dr. Peter Hoynowski, who you've seen before on this channel. Here are the results of some of the studies he's commissioned. Time to play Can You Spot the Difference again? The dentist Dr. Ruth Karsten, an expert in periodontics, that is the branch of dentistry concerned with the structures that support the teeth, concludes that they are not the same person. Sister Lucy's face is convex, whereas Sister Hushi is concave. Moreover, he's plowed through Sister Lucy's dental records, and since she providentially had periodontal disease, which involved the extraction of all her teeth, those records are very detailed and compelling. Dental records clinch most cases. Why not this one? The oral surgeon Dr. Joseph Mascaro notes that not only are the profiles of the two individuals in nearly opposite condition, but these differences cannot be explained through dental work and are caused by different skeletal structures of the face. Moreover, he goes on to attest in his report, during the course of my career, and his has spanned 40 years, I have performed hundreds of jaw osteotomies. Those are precisely planned fractures of the jaw to reposition the bones, and extracted thousands of teeth. I am familiar with expected changes to an individual's face as a result of tooth extraction and placement of dentures. It is my opinion that Lucy number 1 and Lucy number 2 are not and cannot be the same individual. These opinions are offered to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. The plastic surgeon Dr. Julio Garcia says that they are not the same person and offers as evidence the same discrepancy between the chins, one recessive, the other protrusive, which he says cannot be explained by the aging process. The forensic handwriting expert Bart Baggett determines that it is highly probable that a letter supposedly written by Sister Lucy on December 27, 1969, was written by another person with many similar characteristics in letter form and letter structure, so a forgery. Of the 3 facial recognition and biometrics labs reporting on whether Sister Lucy and Sister Hushi could be confidently declared as the same person, 2 returned a negative and the third responded neutral. In terms of probability, the facial recognition expert Dr. Robert Bennett, after running 2 different sets of images in a quantitative test, responded with a 1 in 13 million chance that they're the same person. That's the equivalent of flipping a coin and getting heads 24 times in a row. And not like you needed another, but here's Lois Gibson, Guinness World Record holder for most identifications by a forensic artist. She confirms a single imposter from 1967 to her death in 2005 and says you needn't ask her, you could have simply asked an 8-year-old. Her words, not ours. And now let's hear from an expert we're all familiar with, Nicholas Gruner of the Fatima Center. When asked the question, was there a fake Sister Lucy? He takes a special pains not to answer the question, was there a fake Sister Lucy? As part of his 10-minute waffle, which you can find on YouTube, he offers this gem. In 1989, I met Caroline, her own blood sister, who recognized her as being the real Sister Lucy. Clinched it, right? It's in the bag. Everybody go home. These conspiracy hunters have been thumped again. Oh, not so fast. It's time to trot out our final expert. This time it's one of the world's foremost super facial recognizers, Ms. Dragika Brajovic, who concludes from pictorial and documentary evidence attempting to portray an unknown woman as Sister Lucy's sister, that neither is this individual the fake Sister Lucy, nor is she any one of Sister Lucy's 4 sisters. Now we have another Hushi, this one pretending to be the sister of the Sister Lucy. Of Sister Lucy's 4 adult sisters, Maria, Gloria, Teresa, and Carolina, Nicolas Gruner says he met Carolina. The impostor we showed you was impersonating Teresa. So who did he meet in 1989, 20 years after the fake Sister Lucy was already deceiving so many? And why was she assuring him she met the real Sister Lucy if there was no talk of an impersonator at the time? First, the modernists tried to deceive us with a fake council and then tried to cover their bloody tracks with a fake Sister Lucy and a fake sister of Sister Lucy. One can only wonder what they've done with the members of her family, who would easily see through this imposture and sound the alarm. She did warn us. In her last public interview in 1957, Sister Lucy said to Father Fuentes, God will chastise the world, and this will be in a terrible manner. The chastisement from heaven is imminent. The year 1960 is on us, and then what will happen? It will be very sad for everyone, and far from a happy thing, if the world does not pray and do penance before then. Cut to 5 years later, where after refusing to divulge the third secret of Fatima, John the 23rd had this to say in the opening address of his robber council. We feel that we must disagree with these prophets of doom, who are always forecasting worse disasters, as though the end of the world were at hand. Present indications are that the human family is on the threshold of a new era. We must recognize here the hand of God, who, as the years roll by, is ever directing men's efforts. Right, a new era. What we have is a new world order, ushered in by the synagogue of Satan, hell bent on destroying the church. As futile a task as any. You can't destroy the church. She can never defect. That's a dogma of the faith. She can be eclipsed, but never extinguished. So let them keep their fake mass, their fake sacraments, their fake Lucies. You keep your baptismal vows to reject Satan and all his works and pomps. This whole spot the difference exercise reminded us of an anecdote that Father Dennis Chicoine of the CMRI used to relate in the 1980s. He says, after the Lord's words of consecration for many were replaced with for all in their new order of Mass, he brought the difference up with many priests, about 100 in about 20 years. And most of them said, many and all mean the same thing. Imagine that. So the next time someone tries to wave this off as, there's no difference, of course they're the same person, or the new sacraments are equally efficacious as the old, you can tell them, don't be so sure. And as Father Chicoine always used to implore, you can add, look into it, and then send them this video. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us.